security situation is also terrible. We are hungry. We cannot cope with the hungry. Now we are going to deal with terrorists on top. So this country is in a very, very bad place. Now, what is the response to the current state of the nation? Total despair everywhere. All of you, the elders, you know, I don't have to tell you. When you wake up in the morning, you can count the number of people who come to you looking for money to go to hospital. You know it. I'm not the one to tell you. When you wake up in the morning, you can count the number of people who come to you in spite of free SHS looking for money to go to school. When you wake up in the morning, you can count the number of people who have actually managed to go to hospital but cannot afford their medicines. So you know the situation better than I do. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time describing the situation. All I can say is that the national situation is bad. It is horrible. And we need to wake up to rescue this country.
Whenever I say my PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo. You were till for a PENDREAM TV in Pacho. When you say the news not all from an eddy bro. News say Obabeti in Pacho, so what in Trebia and as what in Trefa. News be I present your platform where you saw for your voice note not for sending it. I was 0277 128 777. The debate 2 PENDREAM FM so Magana for you not on. Young call Nyanko T and a story eddy bro.
We are also having this program in Tamale because Tamale has always been loyal to Alaji and Pan-African television. We are also here in Tamale because the chiefs and people of Tamale have always stood for justice in Ghana and elsewhere. Only a few weeks ago, we were here to organize a solidarity rally, solidarity with the people of Palestine. And we were shocked when on the day of the demonstration, the chiefs, led by Dapema, led that demonstration. It was a beautiful sight to watch. So we are here in Tamale to salute the people of Tamale for their support for Radio Gold, for Pan-African Television, for Alaji and also for standing up for justice. The national situation is very, very bleak. The national situation is horrible. This country is heading towards Armageddon. And if we don't get up and act together, very soon, we may not have a country. So when we are discussing the national situation, of course, political choices eventually may become important and so on. But the most important thing is how do we rescue this country from the state in which we are. Now, I'm going to use the government's own figures. According to the government, the current government, according to this government, when the government collects all of its revenue, all of the money it can collect, when it collects all of that, it needs 128% of total national revenue to pay debts, to service debts, and to pay public sector workers. After that, there's no money for anything. So if some head of state decides to visit us, and he goes to the Flagstaff house and we buy pure water for him, we have to borrow money to pay for the pure water. That's the state of the national economy. Okay? Visit Tamale today. The car he will use, the petrol inside, we have to borrow money to fill his tank to enable him to come here. There is no money to construct gutter, no money for gutter. There is no money to build roads. There is no money for free SHS. There is no money for anything. This is the state of the national economy. And we have to understand that. Digitalization and co-minini has not been able to put one peswa in the national coffers so that we can solve the problems we confront our people. We are in very deep crisis. But who am I? You know the state of the nation better than I do. Today, there are people in Ghana whose monthly salary is 400 cedis, 500 cedis. Now just imagine that you have a wife and 3 children, and at the end of the month, your salary is 500 cedis. How can you survive? What are you going to use that salary for? To pay rent, or to buy water, or to pay electricity? It is also significant for us to note that within the last 3 years, prices of food have gone up by more than 300%. Food. I live in Accra, where kenke is the staple food. 3 years ago, nobody dreamt that one day one ball of kenke will cost 1 cedi. Today, in Accra, one ball of kenke can cost 10 cedis. You can get a ball of kenke for 4 cedis, you can get some for 5 cedis, you can get a ball of kenke for 10 cedis. If you are a family of 5, and the head of family is like some friend of mine that I know who can eat 6 balls, when you sit down one meal, the whole salary is gone. So this is the state in which we find ourselves as Ghana. But there are other things that should concern us. One of the things that should concern us is what my sister Joyce spoke about: security. All of us know that over the last 2 years, government has moved many soldiers to the north and other places here, up here. And they are telling us that it is because of the threat of insurgents like Boko Haram, like Islamic State, and so on. They are telling us. In fact, the last police intelligence report that I saw indicated that these terrorists have sleeping cells which come down beyond Tamale, heading towards Yeji, and so on. So the security situation is also terrible. We are hungry, we cannot cope with the hungry. Now we are going to deal with terrorists on top. So this country is in a very, very bad place. Now, what is the response to the current state of the nation? Total despair everywhere. All of you, the elders, you know, I don't have to tell you. When you wake up in the morning, you can count the number of people who come to you looking for money to go to hospital. You know it. I'm not the one to tell you. When you wake up in the morning, you can count the number of people who come to you in spite of free SHS looking for money to go to school. When you wake up in the morning, you can count the number of people who have actually managed to go to hospital but cannot afford their medicines. So you know the situation better than I do. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time describing the situation. All I can say is that the national situation is bad. It is horrible. And we need to wake up to rescue this country. Now, all my colleagues have said that next year, 2024, offers us an opportunity. It offers us an opportunity because we will be going into an election to elect parliamentarians, to elect a president, and to see whether those we elect will do better than those we have had before. But what are we hearing from the politicians? I feel sick any time I hear from the politicians. What are we hearing? There are those of them who say that you should vote for me because I come from the north. What rubbish is that? One of them is Alhaji Bawumia, not so. Only recently, there was a Northerner who was head of state. He did everything possible to remove that Northerner in order to put somebody from another region as president. When did he realize that it is important to have a Northerner as president? So that time he was working so hard to remove the Northerner, he didn't know that he was a Northerner. At the time that he was working so hard to remove a Northerner, he didn't know that it was important to have a Northerner there as head of state. He's only waking up now to realize that he's a Northerner and that it's important to have a Northerner there as head of state. The region of the president we elect is the least important. Actually, it is not important at all. What do we want? We want a leadership which will reduce inflation. How does electing an Ashanti reduce inflation? If you elect an Ashanti, how would that reduce inflation? If you elect somebody from Central Region, how would that reduce inflation? If you elect somebody from Northern Region, how does that reduce the national debt? They should stop wasting our time. They've been wasting our time on useless talk for too long. We want competent people, and the competent people may be Northerners, they may be Ashantis, they may be from Greater Accra region. The emphasis is on competence and not where you come from. It is so annoying listening to some of these politicians. They just annoy you. And you know, they are able to say these things to us because they don't think that we are sensible people. If they knew that we are sensible people, we have gumption, we can think, they won't come and stand in front of us and, excuse my language, they are chiefs here. They won't come and stand in front of us and tell us stupid and nonsensical things like, I come from this region and therefore vote for me. That's not important at all. We want a leadership which will work so hard to ensure that no Ghanaian child goes to bed on an empty stomach. We want a leadership which will work so hard to ensure that we get good roads so that when food is produced in the north, we can send some to our brothers and sisters in the south. We want a leadership which will build a country in which all of us, no matter where we come from, consider ourselves as brothers and sisters. We want a leadership which will not hide behind religion. Hide behind religion to do all manner of things. In this country, we have never had a religious war in this country throughout our history. Muslims have lived in peace with Christians. Christians have lived in peace with traditional worshippers and so on. So when you get somebody can say, I'm coming to bring religious unity, he doesn't even understand our society. He doesn't know our society. Because we don't have a problem for him to come and solve. That person is behaving like a British politician. You know, there was a British politician who went to campaign in a village. And he told the villagers that if you vote for me, I will give you a bridge. And a small boy in the crowd looked at this politician and said, but we don't have a river. And then the politician said, don't worry, I will add a river. We don't need politicians who will give us bridges where we have no rivers. And when we complain, they say that they will add a river. There is no religious problem in this country. They should stop creating religious problems in their heads and promising to find solutions to those problems. You know, there's one thing that all of us agree on, which is that 2024 presents us an opportunity to change, to do something to change the current situation. But that opportunity must not be taken for granted. If we take that opportunity for granted, we will be very sorry. Now, why do I say this? We've just had the district level elections, haven't we? The level of incompetence displayed by the Electoral Commission must be a source of worry for everybody. On that day, about 9 a.m., the Electoral Commission issues a statement saying that the elections cannot be held in parts of Eastern Region and parts of Ashanti. Just imagine that it is December 7th, 2024, and on the day of the election, the Electoral Commissioner declares that we cannot have the elections in some parts of the country. What do you think will happen? Now, by their own admission, even the ballot papers they printed, just printing ballot papers was a problem. Some of the candidates had gone to ballot, they had secured the number 1 slot. When the ballot papers came, they were number 3. Some of them, their symbols had been given to other people and so on. Clear incompetence. And we must send a message out to the Electoral Commission loud and clear that this country will not tolerate any level of incompetence in the 2024 elections. We must send that message very clearly to the Electoral Commission. In any case, what the Electoral Commission is doing today is our fault. You can blame them, but only to some extent. I think we should blame ourselves. The last elections, how did they declare the results? The first results they declared, the figure they declared for the presidential candidates was more than 100% of the total number of registered voters. Clearly an impossible figure. Then they said, no, they had made a mistake. They changed the figure again. Then they changed it again, and changed it again, and changed it again. At the end of the day, excuse me, at the end of the day, the results of the last elections was declared on a piece of paper, no letterhead, no nothing, without signature. And we accepted that result, and our Supreme Court validated that result. Where in the world would any people accept that kind of election results? But we accepted it. And do you know what is worse? What is worse is that when the NPP went for elections to elect its leaders, NDC went for elections to choose their leaders, the NDC leaders themselves were saying they deserve those kind of election results. You heard them. One of those people seeking to become leaders of the NDC actually said that they went to court without pink sheets. How could they have won without pink sheets and so on? And interestingly, The NDC voted for him as leader. My friends, the warning we give to the Electoral Commission is the same warning we will give to the political parties and their leaders. Whether they are MPP, NDC, or Fafranto, or whatever, if they behave in a way which justifies rigging, if they behave in a way which does not allow the people's will to count, we will deal with the political parties as well. It is not just up to the Electoral Commission to make sure that the right things happen. The political parties and political leaders also have a responsibility to ensure that the proper things happen, that the will of the people matters. My brother Solo made a very important point in his contribution. So very important point. Why? And please, let's talk honestly and plainly. The ministers, when they are appointed by the president, what happens? They send them to parliament for approval, don't they? How many of our own parliamentarians vote against those ministers when they are taken to parliament? And then you turn around to complain that they are incompetent. If they are incompetent, who put them there? Am I the one who put them there? So we expect. So we expect maximum decency from everybody. Go to parliament, fight to the best of your ability. If you are defeated, we will know that you have been defeated. But when you go to parliament and we have 137, and they bring a useless minister, and that useless minister gets 200 votes, how can you come and tell us that we are fighting for us? Fighting for us? How did they get 200 votes in parliament? So we would not tolerate sloppiness on anybody's part. Now, there is something which bothers me. One of the problems we have, not just in Ghana, but perhaps throughout West Africa, maybe throughout Africa, is that our leaders are finding it too difficult to think. Many of our leaders have stopped thinking, and we must force them to begin to think. Why do I say this? We are in Ghana with all the problems we have. The country is so broke. It is the most heavily indebted country in the whole of Africa. The people of Niger decide to change their government, and we say we are marshalling our soldiers to go to Niger to fight to bring back the old president. Are we mad? You can't fight armed robbery in Kumasi. You want to go to Niger and fight the whole army. I mean, this is one of the clearest indications that our leaders have stopped to think. In any case, the people of Ghana would like to see some of what is happening in Niger in Ghana. Before the coup d'etat in Niger, Niger was one of the poorest countries in the world. After 4 months, Niger is the fastest growing economy in the world. Shouldn't our leaders be going to Niger to beg them to teach them how they have managed to transform their country, rather than sending soldiers to go and kill and shoot and bring back an old discredited president? Look. If there are presidents to be removed, they are the presidents who have driven their economies into heavy debt. If If they are presidents to be removed, they are the presidents who have gone to the IMF for the 17th time. Not those who are repairing their economies and mobilizing their people behind the policies they are implementing. And I think it's important that we learn that. Every time we rush to the IMF, to do what there? There is no country in the world which has benefited from any IMF deal. And yet our leaders, anytime they get into trouble, they run to the IMF. What is wrong with the leaders? Are they thinking? They say they want to solve the unemployment problem. When you go to the IMF, one of the first conditions is to freeze public sector employment. So why do they go there all the time? One of our problems in this country is that we go to elections and we pretend to be electing leaders. What we actually do in elections is that we elect the same government. The previous government is re-elected. It doesn't matter whether it's NPP or NDC, it's the previous government which is re-elected. What we only change is the representatives of the government. Because the true government is the World Bank and the IMF, not the people we elect here. Anybody you elect here, they will end up as representatives of the IMF and the World Bank. All right? They will all go there. And when they go there, it is the IMF and the World Bank which will tell them what to do. So it is the IMF and the World Bank which is the true leader. As for the rest, they just represent them. We have to change that situation and elect our own leaders who will think for themselves, act for themselves, and act in the interest of the people of Ghana. That is our charge. As a Ghanaian, I am so embarrassed. I am very embarrassed. Look at the number of universities we have in this country. Lagos has an economics department. University of Cape Coast has an economics department. Even Tech has an economics department. UDS, all of them. And yet today, if you go to the Bank of Ghana, the IMF has appointed somebody to supervise the work in the Bank of Ghana. So the governor of the Bank of Ghana is sitting there for nothing. He's taking fat pay for nothing. He cannot take any decision without the approval of that guy that the World Bank and the IMF has put there. For all you know, he's not even half as qualified as our governor. But he's sitting in the Bank of Ghana as a special representative. Not just that. The President of the United States of America has appointed his representative to sit in the Ministry of Finance. Yes. Biden has a representative sitting in the Ministry of Finance approving everything that we do. So when you see Ken Oforiatta in his white suit, reciting Bible quotations and pretending that he's in charge of nothing. The real person in charge is the representative of President Biden sitting in that ministry. We must end that regime. Today, as we sit here, you know, all of us know, that our government has signed an agreement with the United States of America, allowing the United States of America to station its troops in Ghana. Those soldiers, they don't need visas to come to Ghana. If they want to come to Ghana, they don't even need passports. All they need is their U.S. Army identity card. So they have more privileges than ambassadors. When they come to Ghana and they kill Ghanaians, we cannot take them to court. We have given them immunity. When they come to Ghana and destroy property of Ghanaians, we cannot go to court. We have given them immunity. Those who run Radio Gold, they have to find money to pay for the frequency on which they broadcast. The U.S. Army takes that frequency for free of charge, free bonto. They don't pay anything to the government of Ghana. When the U.S. soldiers come and they are stationed here, wherever they are stationed, our president is not allowed to go there without permission of the U.S. commander. Now, how can we be tolerating this kind of agreements? Why? Are we free from colonialism? Is it the kind of country Kwame Nkrumah wanted to build? No. So this election is not just about the economy. This election is also about asserting our sovereignty, our right to govern ourselves, to make our own decisions. This election is about not allowing any foreign military base on our soil. This election is not about whether you come from Wale Wale or Gambaga. This election is about what you do for us as a people so that we can move forward. This is going to be a very crucial election. I am confident that by December 8th, 2024, latest December 9th, 2024, the people of Ghana would have chosen their own true leaders who can solve the hydra-headed problems that confront us. And I want to believe that from that day on, we shall move forward, one step at a time, but we shall still move forward until we get to that land that Kwame Nkrumah wanted to build for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Comrade Kwesi Pratt Jr. And that ends our first round of discussion. We'll move on to something else. But before we do that, we are talking about the national situation, and everybody here is Ghanaian. So we would like to listen to what you think. So we'll be passing a microphone around. All you have to do is raise your hand if you want to contribute to the discussion or you have a question to ask. Raise your hand. We'll bring the mic to you. But please be very, very brief. Be very brief. We already have an issue with time. So we'll get a microphone. Eva. We'll pass it around. What your comment is. Okay.
Good morning to everyone here. My name is Al-Hassan Humiru Dabale. And first of all, let me say I am honored, I am privileged to be part of this program. For the management of Radio Gold to have brought this program to Tamale, it's an honor for the people of Tamale, and we appreciate that. And let me add to the discussions we have been having. I would start by reiterating on the point Comrade Pratt made to the effect that this 2024 election is so crucial to the point that it will define our destiny. And we will be choosing based on the policies the people present to us. Our economy has so much been shattered that young people have lost hope. The state has failed to create an environment for the young people to realize their dreams and aspirations. And that is how come many of our youths are today involved deeply in gambling, because we have lost faith in what the states can do for us. And that is a serious call for us to wake up and ensure that these elections, nobody plays a fool. Just do not vote and go home. Vote and stay back and ensure that your vote counts. That is very primary. If we fail to do that, then we have failed to take our destiny in our own hands, and it will haunt us forever and ever. I thank you for the privilege.
Thank you. Thank you. Raise your hands up. She will find you and give you the mic.
All right. So, good afternoon to everybody. Yeah, I'll try to be very brief. Yes, my destiny is a little bit admonished. Obed. Yes, Obed. Yes, I just want to, I think Mrs. Bauer is here. Yes, and I'm going just to answer. Anyway, yeah. Yes, I don't, it's a little bit different. When you go, I think you are closer to the president, like I said. He will be president anyway, for sure, because it has never been, yes. It has never been certain, I mean, the history of our country, that after an election, 2020, you are so sure as to who is going to be the next president. It was very certain. The issue is, how prepared is he as he's coming? How really prepared? I know, as we all know that he'll be, I know people are waiting to take advantage of the situations. people are willing, whether it's party executives, whether it's party, especially the party chairman, party organizers, party regional, whatever. People are ready to do or take advantage, like we are seeing in this particular administration. The reason why the failure is that people are underground and try to do what? Take advantage of situations and causing everyone. So when you go, I just want to he should just put his mind on the ground and be very, very careful. The people he allows into his what? Inner circles, which when he gets there, they are going to drag him down. For that one, if it happens, we are going to make it very difficult for him. We'll make things very difficult for him. If he plays like the way this man is playing, it's not going to be easy. So people that are getting on board because this looks a bit rosy, it looks like it's possible he will be president. So what can I do so that when the time comes, I also get my share? I don't think it should be like that. So that's just my little this and that.
Thank you.
I want to.
Thank you, Obed. So a question for Mrs. Mokhtari. How prepared is the former president?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
You are all welcome.
Thank you.
My name is Issa Sumani, a former broadcaster. I want to say that Ghana, our problem is jealousy. Jealousy, wicked, greed, and selfish. Why I say that? Because look at things that have gone all around. We have good policies in Ghana. We lay good policies, but we don't work to it. I have been wondering why you have NORIP, URADEP, FASCOM. All these are good policies for us. What Kwesi Pratt said, we have to take our destiny into our own hands, in the sense that World Bank cannot help us. IMF will not yield it. When they bring these good policies and other things, World Bank, IMF, they send down their own people to come and manage us. So look at all these things. So in natural fact, we have to stand up and fight for our right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I still see a few hands up.
Okay, good afternoon. And then thank you for the opportunity. My name is Hussein Suleiman Wakaso. Professionally, I am an educator. I have passion for education. The question I would like to ask Ghana and the policies that we have, at least to implement.
Story OTCC a platform my friend PENDREAM TV and I uti story no na feedback we hear and story our no any story be our platform no so be our tia o pese o my feedback no fafa WhatsApp message or WhatsApp number 0277128777 na ye be bo e wo PENDREAM FM Ghana for nyina ate won ka
David Kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase na so far so good say open online portal e wo Ghana nipa share nipa follow nipa comment here to my best of knowledge without any biases PENDREAM TV